The ruins of Iraq and Ar. The thick jungle canopy shrouded the ancient ruins of Iraq and Ar, an enigmatic site that had piqued the curiosity of archaeologists for decades. Among those intrigued were Dr. Emily Hargrove, a seasoned archaeologist, her assistant Mark, an experienced guide named Hector, and two graduate students, Sarah and James. The five had trekked through dense undergrowth for days, driven by tales of forgotten treasures and secrets hidden deep within the ruins. Emily *, we're almost there, she said, brushing away a strand of her damp hair. The maps and legends all point to this location. Mark *, I just hope it's worth it, he muttered, swatting at the ever-present mosquitoes. As they broke through the final barrier of vines, the ruins loomed before them. Massive stone structures, covered in creeping vegetation, towered overhead. Carvings of ancient deities and mysterious symbols adorned the walls, seemingly alive with the stories of a long-lost civilization. Hector *, this place gives me the creeps, he said, his voice tinged with unease. We should be careful. Ignoring Hector's warning, the group pressed on. The air grew colder as they ventured deeper into the ruins, the oppressive silence broken only by their footsteps and the distant call of jungle birds. Sarah *, look at these carvings, she exclaimed, running her fingers over a particularly intricate design. They're unlike anything I've ever seen. James *, they're amazing, he agreed. But what do they mean? Emily *, they seem to tell a story, she said, deciphering the symbols. A story of a powerful entity that once ruled this place. The locals called it the Sleeper. As they moved further in, the ground beneath them began to shift, revealing a hidden staircase descending into darkness. A cold draft emanated from below, carrying with it a faint, eerie whisper. Hector *, I don't like this, he repeated, eyeing the stairs warily. Emily *, we have to go down, she insisted. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. Reluctantly, they descended. The passageway narrowed, the air growing thicker with each step. Their flashlights cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, making the carvings appear almost alive. Suddenly, Sarah let out a scream. A skeletal hand protruded from the wall, clutching a stone tablet. James *, what the hell, he gasped, his eyes wide with fear. Emily *, it's just a skeleton, she said, though her voice wavered. Probably a sacrifice or a burial. As they examined the tablet, a deep rumble echoed through the passage. The floor began to tremble, and with a loud crash, the entrance collapsed, sealing them inside. Mark *, we're trapped, he shouted, panic rising in his voice. Hector *, calm down, he ordered. We'll find another way out. They pressed on, the darkness pressing in around them. The whispers grew louder, more distinct, forming words in a language none of them recognized. Sarah *, do you hear that? She whispered, her voice trembling. It's like they're speaking to us. James *, this is insane, he muttered. We need to get out of here. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a vast chamber. In the center stood a massive stone altar, surrounded by flickering torches that cast an otherworldly glow. On the altar lay a figure, shrouded in ancient robes, its eyes closed as if in slumber. Emily *, the Sleeper, she breathed, her eyes wide with awe. It's real. Mark *, we need to leave, he insisted. Now. Before they could move, the figure's eyes snapped open. A chilling laugh echoed through the chamber, and the torches flared, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. The Sleeper *, you have come, it said, its voice a raspy whisper. And now, you will stay. The ground beneath them began to crack, and tendrils of darkness snaked up, wrapping around their ankles. The explorers screamed, struggling in vain against the force pulling them down. Hector *, fight it, he yelled, but his voice was drowned out by the rising cacophony of whispers. One by one, they were dragged into the abyss, their screams echoing long after they had vanished from sight. The chamber grew silent once more, the torches flickering out. Centuries later, the ruins of Iraq and Ar remained shrouded in mystery, the fate of the explorers a cautionary tale for those who dared to seek the secrets of the past. The whispers, however, continued, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay in wait for the next unwitting souls who ventured into the depths of Iraq-NAR. Part 2, The Abyss Below. The darkness seemed to last forever. As they fell, the feeling of being pulled apart by unseen forces enveloped them. Suddenly, they landed with a bone-jarring thud on cold, damp stone. Sarah *, where are we? She gasped, struggling to her feet. Their flashlights flickered back to life, revealing a vast, subterranean cavern. The walls were covered in more ancient carvings, depicting scenes of unimaginable horror, creatures that defied description, people writhing in agony, and the ever-present figure of the sleeper. James *, this is worse than a nightmare, he whispered, his voice breaking. Emily *, we have to keep moving, she said, trying to maintain her composure. There must be a way out. As they navigated the labyrinthine tunnels, they stumbled upon a series of chambers filled with artifacts. Ancient weapons, gold, and jewels lay scattered about, but none of them dared to touch anything. The air was thick with a sense of malevolence, as if the very walls were watching them. Hector *, this isn't right, he muttered. These things should have decayed, but they look almost new. Mark *, it's like time doesn't work the same here, he speculated, eyeing a golden idol warily. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the chamber. Their flashlights darted around, revealing shadows that seemed to move on their own. Sarah *, we need to go, she said, her voice a terrified whisper. As they hurried through the tunnels, the growling grew louder, accompanied by the sound of claws scraping against stone. Panic set in, and they broke into a run, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. James *, what the hell is that? He yelled, glancing over his shoulder. Emily *, just keep running, she shouted. They burst into another chamber, only to find themselves face to face with a massive, grotesque creature. It had the body of a human but was twisted and deformed, with multiple limbs and a face contorted in eternal agony. The creature * you cannot leave, it rasped, its voice a guttural growl. Hector * run, he bellowed, pulling out a flare gun and firing at the creature. The flare exploded in a blinding flash, momentarily stunning the creature. The group sprinted down another passage, their hearts pounding in their chests. Mark * we can't keep this up, he panted, struggling to catch his breath. Emily * there has to be a way out, she insisted. We just have to find it. They continued through the maze of tunnels, each twist and turn leading them deeper into the bowels of the earth. The air grew colder, and the oppressive sense of dread intensified. Eventually, they stumbled upon a massive stone door, covered in intricate carvings and ancient symbols. Sarah * this has to be it, she said, hope flickering in her eyes. The way out. James * how do we open it? He asked, examining the carvings. Emily * it's a puzzle, she said, tracing her fingers over the symbols. We need to align the symbols in the right order. As they worked on the puzzle, the sounds of the creature grew louder, closer. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the whispers returned, louder and more insistent. Mark * hurry, he urged, glancing nervously down the tunnel. With a final click, the symbols aligned, and the door slowly creaked open. A blinding light spilled into the chamber, and they rushed through, slamming the door behind them. Hector * we made it, he breathed, relief washing over him. But their relief was short-lived. The light revealed another chamber, filled with ancient, rotting corpses. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the walls were covered in more carvings, depicting scenes of torment and despair. Emily * no, she whispered, horror dawning on her face. This isn't the way out. Suddenly, the corpses began to move, their eyes glowing with an unholy light. The whispers grew deafening, and the ground began to shake violently. The sleeper * you cannot escape, its voice echoed through the chamber. You belong to me now. The walls began to close in, and the ground cracked open, revealing a bottomless chasm. The explorers screamed, scrambling to find a way out, but it was too late. The darkness swallowed them, their cries echoing in the void. As the chamber fell silent once more, the whispers faded into the background. Part 3, Descend into Madness. the explorers were thrust into a cold, pitch-black abyss. The fall seemed to last forever until they were abruptly stopped, suspended in midair by an unseen force. Slowly, they were lowered onto a stone platform surrounded by inky darkness. "Sarah Asterisk, where are we?" she asked, her voice echoing in the void. A faint, eerie light began to emanate from the walls, revealing a vast cavern filled with towering pillars and ancient statues. The statues depicted nightmarish creatures, their grotesque forms frozen in poses of agony and terror. "Emily Asterisk, this can't be real," she stammered, her mind struggling to comprehend their surroundings. "Hector Asterisk, we need to stay together," he said, his grip tightening on his flashlight. "Whatever happens, we can't let this place break us." As they explored the cavern, they came across a series of murals depicting the rise and fall of an ancient civilization. The murals showed how the people had worshipped the sleeper, offering sacrifices to appease the entity. But something had gone wrong. The final murals depicted chaos and destruction, the people being consumed by darkness. "James Asterisk, it's like they unleashed something they couldn't control," he said, his voice tinged with fear. "Mark Asterisk, and now it's happening to us," he muttered. The ground began to tremble again, and a deep, resonant hum filled the air. The statues seemed to come to life, their eyes glowing with an unholy light. Shadows stretched and twisted, taking on monstrous forms. "Emily Asterisk, run," she screamed, as the shadows lunged towards them. They sprinted through the cavern, dodging the grasping tendrils of darkness. The hum grew louder, reverberating through their bones. They burst into another chamber, only to find it filled with pools of dark, viscous liquid. The liquid rippled, and figures began to rise from it, their forms indistinct but menacing. "Sarah Asterisk, this can't be happening," she sobbed, her eyes wide with terror. "Hector Asterisk, we need to find a way out," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "There has to be an exit." They navigated through the chamber, avoiding the rising figures. As they reached the far end, they found a narrow passageway leading upwards. They climbed the steep, winding path, the air growing colder and more oppressive with each step. Suddenly, the passageway opened into a small chamber, lit by a single, flickering torch. In the center stood a pedestal with an ancient book resting on it. The book's cover was adorned with intricate symbols and runes. "Emily Asterisk, this must be the key," she said, approaching the book cautiously. "Maybe it can help us understand what's happening." She opened the book, and a gust of wind extinguished the torch. The room plunged into darkness, and the whispers returned, louder and more insistent. "Mark Asterisk, what did you do?" he shouted, panic rising in his voice. "Emily Asterisk, I don't know," she cried, flipping through the pages frantically. "There's something here, a ritual or a way to stop the sleeper." The walls began to close in again, and the ground cracked open, revealing another chasm. The shadows swirled around them, their whispers forming words in an ancient, forgotten language. "The sleeper Asterisk, you cannot escape your fate," it intoned, its voice resonating through the chamber. "You are mine." "Hector Asterisk, Emily, hurry," he yelled, as the ground beneath them began to crumble. Emily continued to read, her voice trembling as she recited the incantation. The shadows recoiled, and the whispers grew frantic, but the ground continued to give way. "Sarah Asterisk, we're not going to make it," she screamed, as the chasm widened. With a final, desperate plea, Emily finished the incantation. A blinding light erupted from the book, and the shadows were banished, their forms dissolving into nothingness. The ground stabilized, and the walls stopped closing in. "James Asterisk, did it work?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Emily Asterisk, I think so," she said, her voice shaky. "But we need to get out of here, now." They retraced their steps, navigating the treacherous passages and avoiding the remaining pools of dark liquid. The cavern seemed to resist their escape, the path twisting and turning in ways that defied logic. But eventually, they found themselves back at the massive stone door. "Mark Asterisk, let's get out of here," he said, pushing the door open with all his strength. They stumbled into the sunlight, the jungle's vibrant colors a stark contrast to the darkness they had left behind. Collapsing on the ground, They took deep breaths, savoring the fresh air. Sarah *, we made it, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Hector *, let's never speak of this again, he said, his voice resolute. As they began their journey back to civilization, the whispers of Iraq and AR faded into the background, a distant memory of the horrors they had faced. But deep within the ruins, the sleeper stirred, its influence reaching beyond the confines of the ancient stones, waiting for the next unwitting souls to venture into its domain. Epilogue: The Curse of Iraq and AR. Years passed, and the story of the explorer's harrowing journey into the ruins of Iraq and AR became a legend, whispered among archaeologists and treasure hunters. Some dismissed it as a myth, while others were drawn by the promise of untold riches and ancient secrets. One such group, led by a renowned treasure hunter named Victor Crane, decided to test the legend. Victor had heard the tales of the sleeper and the explorers who had barely escaped with their lives, but he was undeterred. He assembled a team of seasoned adventurers and set out into the jungle. As they approached the ruins, the air grew colder and the jungle fell silent. The massive stone structures loomed before them, covered in creeping vegetation. Victor felt a chill run down his spine, but he pushed it aside, driven by the promise of wealth and glory. Victor *, this is it, he said, his voice filled with determination. The legends are true. They ventured into the ruins, the oppressive silence broken only by their footsteps. The carvings on the walls seemed to watch them, the eyes of ancient deities following their every move. As they descended the hidden staircase, a cold draft carried with it a faint, eerie whisper. Treasure hunter *, I don't like this, one of Victor's team members muttered. We should turn back. Victor *, we're too close to turn back now, he insisted. There's something here, I can feel it. They pressed on, the darkness pressing in around them. The whispers grew louder, more distinct, forming words in an ancient language. Victor felt a sense of unease, but he pushed it aside, driven by his desire for discovery. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon the vast chamber with the massive stone altar. The torches flickered, casting an otherworldly glow. On the altar lay a figure, shrouded in ancient robes, its eyes closed as if in slumber. Victor *, the sleeper, he breathed, his eyes wide with awe. It's real. Before they could move, the figure's eyes snapped open. A chilling laugh echoed through the chamber, and the torches flared, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. The sleeper *, you have come, it said, its voice a raspy whisper. And now, you will stay. The ground beneath them began to crack, and tendrils of darkness snaked up, wrapping around their ankles. The treasure hunters screamed, struggling in vain against the force pulling them down. As Victor was dragged into the abyss, he realized too late the truth of the legend. The ruins of Iraq and AR were not a place of treasure, but a trap, a prison for those who dared to seek the secrets of the past. The whispers grew louder, and the darkness closed in, consuming them all. And so, the curse of Iraq and AR continued, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay in wait for the next unwitting souls who ventured into the depths of the ancient ruins.
Don't forget to subscribe.